Chancellor, sir, the convocation lecture for the 28th and 29th combined convocation ceremonies is scheduled to hold this morning as part of this ceremony and to be delivered by Mr. Tunde Lemo-Frm, an accomplished banker and a former Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria. May I call on Mr. Tunde Lemo-Frm to please stand and remain standing. Honorable Chancellor, sir, standing before you today is Mr. Babatunde Olakunle Lemo. Mr. Lemo was born on September 26, 1959. He attended the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in accounting, first-class honors in 1984. The young Babatunde Lemo finished with 7 prizes and won the overall best graduating students of the faculty at the university convocation. His thirst for professionalism led him to sit for the professional examinations of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, which he completed as the third best overall student at first sitting in 1986. He started his working career with Arthur Anderson & Co., a leading firm of chartered accountants, between 1985 and 1986. After then, he moved on to SOA Nigeria Limited, Chartered Bank PLC, Equatorial Bank PLC, Peak Merchant Bank PLC, before joining Wema Bank PLC in 1995. Mr. Lemo had a robust working career with Wema Bank of Nigeria PLC, where he served meritoriously as Deputy General Manager, Retail Banking, and General Manager, Corporate Banking between 1995 and 1998. He became an Executive Director, Audit and Relationship Management between 1998 and year 2000. At the Millennium Year, our distinguished convocation lecturer of today was appointed the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Wema Bank PLC. And he served for 3 years in that capacity between year 2000 and December 2002. He performed creditably well by transforming and uplifting Wema Bank to an unprecedented growth in profitability, total assets, and deposits. The dint of hard work and the Midas touch at Wema Bank PLC was recognized by the President of Nigeria when Mr. Lemo was appointed as Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria in January 2003. As the Deputy Governor, he served as the helmsman for the financial sector surveillance for 6 creditable years. He was a strong pillar of support for the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria in the 2005 banking sector consolidation reform, which trimmed down the 89 largely weak banks to 24 stronger and well-capitalized banks with a combined equity of over 1.6 trillion naira. That singular action made it possible for Nigeria to survive the global meltdown that later ravaged the economies of the entire world. His appointment as Deputy Governor was renewed for another 5 years in 2009, and he was put in charge of operations. In this position, he gave strategic direction to the operations of the CBN, leading to the transformation of the national payment system with the introduction of the electronic payment system, including the introduction of the popular BVN and electronic bank transfer that we are enjoying today. Upon serving out his terms in 2014, Mr. Lemo moved on to other higher public service duties in service of humanity. He served as chairman, Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, chairman, Titan Trust Bank Limited, chairman, Flutterwave Nigeria Limited, chairman, Lambert Capital Limited, chairman, Lidford Gate College, Lekki, chairman, CBC Netcoms, board member, ARM Holdings Limited, director and chairman, Board of Audit Committee of African Finance Corporation. He is a board member of GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Nigeria Limited, among others. Mr. Chancellor, sir, Mr. Tunde Lemo has attended numerous management seminars and workshops, as well as executive training programs at world-class institutions, including Wharton College, University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, Harvard University, Bandels University, all in the United States of America, as well as INSEAD Fontainebleau in France. Mr. Tunde Lemo is an experienced and versatile public officer, financial manager, accomplished banker, and a chartered accountant of repute. His major strength lies in his passion for excellence, abilities to transform challenges to opportunities, problem-solving skills, integrity, and people management orientation. He leverages on his wide and diverse exposure to build a strong interpersonal and negotiation skills to promote sound analytical and financial management capabilities anywhere he serves. He is highly cerebral, as his expertise is sought by leading financial institutions across the globe. He has, of course, been rewarded with several awards and honors for his distinguished performances by several bodies. Perhaps the greatest award is the conferment of the National Award of the Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic. Mr. Tunde Lemo is a devoted Christian, a good player of table tennis and badminton games, and also a lover of good music. He is married with 3 successful children. Mr. Chancellor, sir, it is my honor to invite this accomplished banker, distinguished public servant, and astute administrator to deliver the convocation lecture for the combined 28th and 29th convocation ceremonies of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The Chancellor, the Royal Eminence, the Obang of Calabar, the Vice Chancellor, Professor F.K. Salako, permit me to stand on existing protocol. It's such a great honor for me today to be asked to deliver the convocation lecture on this August occasion. First and foremost, permit me to express my sincere appreciation to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Salako, and the entire members of the Senate of this university for this great honor. I don't take it for granted. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to congratulate the graduates today on this great occasion. I'm sure it's the day you've all been looking for. And thank God, this day has come. In spite of all odds, you have scaled the hurdles leading to the award of various degrees today. Let me also congratulate the proud parents who are here today rejoicing on the graduation of their children. I'm sure you are very proud of your students, of your children today. You are very happy because they are doing you proud. And because in spite of all odds, they are here graduating. But I know you probably may not be as happy as the parents in 30, 40 years ago because of the situation of things in the world today. But I'm very, very sure that by the special grace of God, these ones who have graduated today will also advance to higher things that you will be proud of in Jesus' name. The Bible says we must walk while it is day, for the night comes when no man can walk. To the new graduates of today, your day is just beginning. Unfortunately, the situation in our country today is completely different from what we experienced almost 40 years ago when we graduated. Those were the days when the USCs of this world, the oil companies and major companies would go to the university and run aptitude tests and interviews for the final year students. And most often than not, most of these people got employed. They got their employment letter even before they proceeded to NYSC. Some employers will actually tell the NYSC that please permit XYZ to serve because he already has a job. Unfortunately, that has fizzled out. Nevertheless, I believe there is hope. And that is why today I'm talking on Nigerian youth's opportunities for gainful employment in spite of the economic circumstances. I'm sure we all know that youth unemployment in Nigeria today is well over 40%. In fact, I have been keeping some CVs in my drawer for up to 3-4 years. These are people who graduated and passed out in very good grades, yet we cannot find appropriate jobs for them. But today, I'm asked to challenge you. I want to really challenge you and encourage you not to lose hope in Nigeria. And perhaps to also let you know that the phase we are going through, some other countries today that we respect have gone through the same phase. I recall a good friend of mine, Professor Pat, who told me he was sharing his views at a convocation lecture like this so many years ago, and told the students that in his own days, in the 70s, when he went to the business school in the United States of America, the situation was also like this. Americans were graduating and there were no jobs. The situation was so terrible that a lot of people lost hope. In fact, at that time, inflation in the US had reached 29%. Unemployment rate was extremely high. And it actually cost Jimmy Carter his second term. Jimmy Carter was not re-elected on account of the situation in the country. But then came another president, Ronald Reagan. He came on board and aroused the American spirit. He changed the perspective of the youth. who began to think out of the box. Today, I'm going to ask you to think out of the box. And it paid off in the United States of America, because that was the era that produced the billionaires that we have in the United States of America today. So, distinguished students, as you are stepping out, you may not have been promised any good job, but think out of the box. By the special grace of God, in another 15, 20 years, we'll be celebrating you as the billionaires of Nigeria. Every challenge must be turned into opportunity. That's basically what I'm saying. So my mission today is simple, is to let you know that hope is not lost. Today's challenges actually present fresh opportunities for new graduates. After this introduction, I'm going to examine two buzzwords that perhaps you are familiar with. That is entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. I'm going to look at the issues affecting gainful employment in Nigeria and the mitigants. That's in section 3. While section 4 of my paper will speak to the current initiatives towards promoting entrepreneurship. Section 5 examines the future prospects and emerging opportunities. Before then, my conclusion in chapter 6. Entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. What do these words really mean? The concept of entrepreneurship is fairly familiar. However, at the risk of belaboring the term, entrepreneurship can generally be defined as the capacity and willingness to develop and organize a business venture along with its inherent risks in order to make profit. In a straight sense, entrepreneurship is simply the starting of a new business. Entrepreneurs strive to meet the social, economic, developmental needs of their environment. They are innovative and constantly striving to add value and generating new ideas. Entrepreneurs are risk takers and also possess a drive to grow continuously. And these features distinguish them from ordinary business people who just work hard to grow their businesses. While the drive for success and innovation, entrepreneurs create new businesses, thereby providing employment. However, the concept of intrapreneurship may not be so familiar, but it's also very closely related to entrepreneurship. The American Heritage Dictionary defines entrepreneur as a person with a large organization who takes direct responsibility for turning ideas into a profitable finished product through assertive risk-taking and innovation. According to Zaha, in Ferreira, entrepreneurship consists of formal and informal activities aimed at creating new business in established companies through product and process innovations and market developments. They behave like entrepreneurs, but they operate within the defined boundaries of a corporate environment. I have decided to bring in these buzzwords because as you graduate, whether you find employment or you do not find employment, you can actually think out of the box. That's basically what I'm saying. If you don't have employment, you can create one by thinking out of the box, by becoming an entrepreneur. And I'm going to give you an example of someone who did that and very well also. Also, even if you are fortunate to get a gainful employment, you shouldn't just bury your head with the crowd and then expect, promotion as it comes. You can actually be innovative within that larger organization, and then you carve out a niche for yourself, and then, of course, you grow rapidly. Sometimes you even grow beyond the organization and then develop on your own. So either of the two, the essence actually is to think out of the box and innovate. The global business environment is becoming more and more competitive, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And so it takes more than mere competitive advantage or leadership inspiration to succeed and to grow in business over time. Those of us who are parents know this, that the competition has brought to us the fact that just by being a good businessman, just by being trying to do the same thing again and again well may not take you there. If you do not innovate, then you'll perish, God forbid. So it takes creativity, innovation, risk-taking, determination, and sustained commitment now to be able to lead others, to achieve results and outpace competition. Entrepreneurs are typically intra-organizational revolutionaries. They are therefore entrepreneurs, but having the backing of their organizations and are determined to go every length if encouraged to develop their creativity within their respective organizations, even with little incentives. Entrepreneurs should be able to prove that they can work successfully within the cultural and decision-making boundaries of their organizations. This will enable them to establish their own credibility and relationship, which will become useful in pursuing risky ventures. Of course, personal trust is also an indispensable quality of a successful entrepreneur. This truly should be cautiously developed and guarded jealously. However, trust can be eroded if an entrepreneur fails to follow through on commitments made to deliver project deadlines. If he overpromises and underdelivers or operates within insufficient transparency. Though these issues are relevant in all relationships, they are more important for entrepreneurs because their initiatives are inherently risky. In the pursuit of an entrepreneurial project, existing businesses, revenues, customers, operating models, and power structures are put at risk. And drawing from ideas of Guilford Pincott in his book, Entrepreneuring, why you don't have to leave the corporation to become an entrepreneur. He provides 10 commandments for entrepreneurs, and these are: do any job needed to make your work, regardless of your job description. And I'm saying this to you, please, if you join a new organization, don't say because your pay is so small, you will work a little. I remember over 10 years ago, my son got a job in JP Morgan. Then as an intern, I told him, I said, don't work there as an intern. Work as somebody who has a full-time job. If others leave at 5, you work till 6 and ask your boss, is there any other thing for me to do? And he did that. While others were sent home after 1 year, he was retained. And there he is till today. So the competition is so keen out there that when you get that job, if you are lucky, please try and exceed your employer's expectation. And that is a sure way to the top. Share credit wisely. Remember, it is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. Come to work each day willing to be fired. And ask for advice before asking for resources. Follow your intuition about people. Build a team of the best. Build a quiet coalition for your idea. Early publicity triggers the corporate immune system. Don't be in a hurry to publicize yourself. Just bury your head and ensure that you are diligent in what you're doing. When you give yourself too much publicity early, you could be plucked out in a very dramatic way. Don't forget that there are also some of your colleagues or some who joined that institution 1 or 2 years before you who may not want you to shine. Never be on a race. Never be on a race before you are running in it. Be true to your goals, but realistic about ways to achieve them. And of course, honor your sponsors. Examples abound on individuals who have flourished from entrepreneurial activities. I'm giving an example here. The founders of Adobe System Incorporation, John Womack and Charles Geske, they were employees in Xerox several years ago. As employees in Xerox, they were frustrated by their new product, Adobe, which was not encouraged. They quit Xerox in the early 1980s to begin their own business. Today, adult market capitalization is $219 billion and is the world's 44th most valuable market by capitalization. So these are intelligent guys who went to an organization and the organization could not contain their initiative. So they came out and then, of course, registered their business, and within a few years, they became bigger than those they would have been stuck with. So when you get that job, I'm sure so many of you, because of the fact that you have more frontier skill, you have cutting edge skill, which is very relevant and more relevant than the skills that some of your bosses have. It is likely that you may be in these particular circumstances. Don't be too shy or too afraid to launch out. You may actually, in future, build a business that is bigger than what your employers are having today. I also have another example, which is Ken Kutaragi, who was working in Sony Sound Laboratory. When he bought his daughter a product called Nintendo Game Console. And watching the daughter play, he observed the system's primitive sound effects. He realized that a digital chip dedicated solely to sound will improve the quality of the games and the product itself. Keeping his job at Sony, Kutaragi developed the SPC 7000 for the next generation of Nintendo machines. Sony executive nearly fired him after discovering his sideline project. But the then CEO realized the value of his innovation and encouraged Kutaragi's effort. With Sony's support, Kutaragi worked with Nintendo to develop a CD-ROM based Nintendo. Of course, Nintendo decided not to go forward with it. That's what some of us do. Some adults, we don't like to try new things. But what happened? Kutaragi helped Sony to develop his own gaming system, which became the PlayStation that we all know today. The first PlayStation made Sony a major player in the games market. But the PlayStation 2 did even better, becoming the best-selling game console of all time. Kutaragi founded Sony Computer Entertainment, one of Sony's most profitable divisions. Many more of such cases in which entrepreneurs have helped to increase the speed and cost effectiveness of technology transfer from research and development to marketplace abound. These innovations have redefined our daily lives, made life easier for all of us, improved the entrepreneurs' organizations' earning, and created employment. We can also have entrepreneurship in government establishments. But of course, it is more difficult in government establishment through red tape and bureaucracy. But these are all examples abroad. We have examples in Nigeria that should inspire the youth. About 7-8 years ago, a young man was introduced to me, and he had so much energy in himself and said he would like to work with his colleagues to set up a very, very modern fintech company. I encouraged him, and then they got registered in the Central Bank of Nigeria. Today, he's an entrepreneur of repute. I'm sure most of you who are young people know this young man called Iyi Aboyeji. Iyi Aboyeji is a 31-year-old Nigerian entrepreneur and co-founder of Andela. He also co-founded Flutterwave, a fintech company currently valued at $3 billion according to Nairametrics. He was cited as one of the top 100 most influential Africans by the New African magazine of 2019. When he left the University of Waterloo in 2012, the most convenient thing for him was to have prepared a good CV, and by now maybe he will be waiting for his second or third promotion if he's lucky, or maybe first or second. But what he did was to ignite the innovative spirit and entrepreneurial spirit in him and today is a global personality. The most interesting thing is that what he's doing today has no relevance at all with his course of study. In the University of Waterloo, he studied legal studies with concentration in international studies. But today, he's a fintech expert. What am I telling you, graduates? Your field today may not be what will launch you into prominence. Develop yourself, your innate personal capability. University education is not only for you to gain employment and to practice the narrow field that you have been prepared for. It liberates your mind. It liberates your mind so you can become who God wants you to be because of the exposure that you have had in the 4 walls of the university. What are the issues affecting gainful employment in Nigeria? Today, we are bemoaning our situation in Nigeria. Statistics revealed that while Africa has the world's youngest population with great expectations for education, nearly 60% of those who are unemployed are youth between the ages of 15 and 24, and a significant number of these ones are graduates. This jobless growth is what African higher education institutions will have to take into consideration in planning future expansion. Graduate skill gaps are prevalent across African region. In one study carried out on employers' view about graduates' employability, 65 to 80% of employers said that graduates were not work ready. Most of the employers today, when they pick new graduates, they say they are not work ready. The biggest reported skill gaps were actually in language, communication, problem solving, and interpersonal skills. Employers also noted that graduates often lack the adequate understanding of both the theory and application of their subject disciplines. Youth unemployment in our country is like a time bomb. As at the end of 2021, there were 170 universities in Nigeria turning out graduates, but only very few of them having jobs. These are comments in the literature in respect of graduates being produced by our university system. Such comments are familiar to us. I don't want to waste time. Lack of skill, failure of the school curriculum to place emphasis on practical concepts of entrepreneurship, too much emphasis on theory, and so on and so forth. But I want to concentrate more on mitigants. How do we mitigate this and get more of our young ones employed? Education, vocational training skills, development, and work experience are essential to enhance the employability of youth. Employability results from several factors: a foundation of core skills, access to education, availability of training opportunities, motivation, ability, and support to take advantage of opportunities for continuous learning, and recognition of acquired skills. All these are critical for enabling workers to attain decent work and manage change, for enabling enterprises to adopt new technologies. There is a need to promote skills development in economic sectors with high job creation potentials. I believe employers of labor today should actually walk to our universities, have a conversation with university authorities to say these are the skills that I need, so that the university will incorporate those ones in the school curriculum, so that then we can have a very good synergy between the town and the gown in terms of the expectation. I don't see much of this happening today. In other words, banks should actually go to universities that offer banking and finance and say these are the skills that are highly prized. Please let us have them trained in these areas. The same thing with agriculture, the same thing with agro-allied companies, and so on and so forth. We also should have employment services. Employment services that will also show the young ones how to navigate. There's so much of that abroad. You could just get into a portal and they will advise you based on your skills and based on what you have done so far and advise you on the way to go. Or if you need other skills, that will be done to you. We don't have that today. And it's very unfortunate because today, our graduates are no longer employees or potential employees for Nigerian market. They are potential employees for the global market. I have so many people in Nigeria today who are working for foreign companies and they are domiciled in Nigeria. They sit in Nigeria, they're not traveling to New York, they're not traveling to Cambodia, and yet they are already working for them. So we need more of these services to give information, to make information available to our young ones where such opportunities exist. You don't necessarily have to jet out to Canada to have a job that is enriching. You can sit in here and then do that job. What the opportunity COVID has given us today is to say that your employees don't have to be physically where you are situated. They can be anywhere in the globe and yet they render service. Let me quickly go, because the time flies let me quickly go to current initiative by the central bank and other institutions towards promoting entrepreneurship. The central bank continues to sustain its interventions in priority sectors and segments of the economy with potential for delivering economic growth, job creation, food and industrial raw material self-sufficiency, and economic diversification. These sectors include agriculture, and thank God I am in the University of Agriculture, energy, healthcare, manufacturing, mining, and services. A couple of banks' interventions are also focused on enabling infrastructure development necessary to boost the productive base of the economy. To produce the statistics and every other socio-economic index, the central bank continues to engage critical stakeholders in the financing and industrial sectors to provide the needed support. I have taken the liberty to give you the details of such support. There is the one for agriculture called Anchor Borrowers Program. How many of us are familiar with Anchor Borrowers Program? It's well advertised. Over 4.8 million smallholders farmers across 36 states and FCT are benefiting from this as I speak. And they are creating an estimated 14 million direct and indirect jobs since the introduction in 2015. So as you step out, if you intend to take on commercial agriculture, Anchor Borrower is your best bet. They've been able to produce 2.3 million metric tons of rice paddy under the program. They are supported also the cultivation of about 2.5 million metric tons of maize. The Anchor Borrower Program has financed the first major wheat and seed multiplication and production initiative. Thank God, we are making alternative arrangement for wheat with Ukraine-Russia imbroglio. That is where we get over 30% of our wheat from. Russia-Ukraine axis produce more than 30% of our wheat. But thank God, we are already having a program organized by the central bank to bridge this gap. We also have accelerated agriculture development scheme. With this, 19 projects which engage about 13,000 youth farmers in the cultivation of rice, cassava, and fish and livestock have benefited. You also can benefit from MSME, which is targeted credit facility. This has financed over 700,000 beneficiaries, comprising 648,000 households and 129,000 SMEs. This has also contributed significantly to improve domestic consumption and growth of 2021. There's Creative Industry Financing Scheme, CIFI. With these 372 entrepreneurial projects were financed in fashion, information technology, movies, music, and software development. We have the Agri Small and Medium Enterprises Investment Scheme called SMEs. This has financed 37,000 projects in agriculture, cottage industry, manufacturing services, among others. It's been helping to improve production capacity. There's the industrial manufacturing, which Central Bank established recently, 100 for 100 policy. We also have for healthcare sector. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you step out, please bear these opportunities in mind so you can benefit and hit the grounds running immediately after your NYSC. In addition to CBN, African Development Bank also has what we call Boost Africa. Boost Africa is also an initiative that ensures that the youth are assisted in providing jobs, in getting themselves engaged. Boost Africa is a joint initiative between ADB and the European Investment Bank, and one of the flagship initiatives of ADB's Job for Youth strategy. It aims to harness the continent's potential and create opportunities on the ground. It enables and enhances entrepreneurs and innovation across Africa, and so on and so forth. Boost Africa stems from a belief in entrepreneurship and innovation, and that youth can play and can actually benefit a lot through this. The Boost Africa, the focus will be on sectors where innovations can improve quality of people's lives. In particular, where it can improve poorer households, providing access to affordable products and services. And these sectors include ICT, agribusiness, financial services, financial inclusion, healthcare, education, and renewable energy. Overall target of Boost Africa across various components is expected to be around 250 million euro, leveraging 1 billion euro in investment and supporting 1,500 SMEs and creating 25,000 direct jobs and at least 70,000 indirect jobs. What are the few prospects and emerging opportunities? The futures, prospects, and emerging opportunities. For us to take care of tomorrow, we must bear in mind that education has been proven to be a key factor in promoting entrepreneurial spirit. I would like to charge the Vice Chancellor and the members of the academic team to actually build in entrepreneurial studies in the curriculum if they have not already done so. But I believe you are doing so already. You know, it sharpens, it helps the university students to actually think out of the box. And the advancement in technology is also very helpful and something that brings hope tomorrow. ICT revolution today has brought about a paradigm shift in both the developing and developed countries. This is because our old ways of doing things are being challenged and substituted with more effective, sophisticated, and efficient technology-driven ideas, while traditional societies are gradually being transformed into knowledge societies. Access to the internet has provided up-to-date follow-up on international innovative trends, which is imperative for the advancement of entrepreneurship. ICT has become an avenue in which underdeveloped and developed economies can leverage for further advancement. Through the internet, ideas and concepts can be borrowed, refined, and copied to engender entrepreneurship without necessarily reinventing the wheel. The universities should partner, like I said earlier, with the employers of labor so that we can harness this. We have such examples across the globe. I gave the Microsoft, Cisco, Intel, University of Melbourne. They are in partnership, and all they do is to ensure that the University of Melbourne produce graduates that Microsoft, Cisco can you make use of? Unfortunately, we cannot achieve this in Nigeria without political stability. Nigeria, thank God, has had 22 years of unbroken democracy. Even though we keep rising and falling, it is hoped that if we continue and sustain the democratic experience, we should be able to have a Nigerian that will reverse the brain drain that we already have. I'm also glad to note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that one of the game changers, by the grace of God, for our youth is our resource endowment. Nigeria is endowed with a variety of natural resources that could serve the cause of entrepreneurship. These include crude oil, gas, and 34 identified solid minerals in commercial quantity waiting to be harnessed. All we've been doing is crude oil, crude oil, crude oil. Our gas potential is bigger than crude oil. If we can harness that, we'll be able to produce jobs. But the one that actually makes me excited is our bitumen reserve. Our bitumen reserve is second largest in the world. We have a reserve of 42.7 billion metric tons in Ondo, Ogun, Lagos, and Edo states, and they are largely untapped. I believe if we begin to do this, then we'll open opportunities for our students. As I begin to conclude, the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the current climate for employment and entrepreneurship in Nigeria may not be ideal. It is challenging. However, the point should be made that in challenges lie opportunities. China has manifestly demonstrated this by the uncommon transformation from a country that could hardly feed herself 40 years ago to a powerhouse that we know today. Above all, China is now a net lender of capital to the global economy. The point to note, however, is that the various stakeholders should endeavor to rise to the challenge. Particularly, the role of the university system will be crucial. In this regard, the university should, as a matter of urgency, undertake a comprehensive review of curriculum with a view to meeting the demand and aspiration of the country. In the same vein, there is need to reorder priorities and dedicate more resources to research and development so as to generate new ideas and innovation. The students who are the future leaders should be prepared to face challenges. Are you prepared to face challenges? They should anticipate and surmount evolving challenges. This requires that they are well prepared, adequately informed, they are visionary, and they are skillful. Undoubtedly, if we are only training the youth to solve today's problem, it is an invitation to and the entrenchment of mediocrity. In order to provide youth that will be outstanding as entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in the changing global arena, today's youth must be equipped with knowledge that you have in this university. You must be equipped with skills and perspectives that are required to be creative in order to succeed. Government on her part should demonstrate more sensitivity to the needs of the university system and sustain the momentum in addressing the structure. I will end with this quote from Warren Tracy, who says, entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. With these few comments, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and in particular, our graduating students, I would like again to congratulate you and to assure you that your future is bright in spite of the economic headwinds. Go out there with determination and prosper. I thank you for listening.